The Chargers need a new head coach, but they might need a new starting center as well. Rams defensive coordinator Raheem Morris is a candidate for at least one head coaching gig. And MLS Golden Boot winner Denis Bouanga says he wants out of LAFC. Good morning. I'm James. This is your daily dose of sports and snark for the greatest sports city in the world, Los Angeles. This is the faithful Angelenos morning report. So it is January 9th, 2024. Absolutely lovely morning. And we're off to a good start. We've updated the idiot Dodger rumor board over here. Kept the idiot Laker rumor board right there. But looky over there. We have got an absolute ton of news to get to in the lineup this morning. So if you like being in the know about LA sports, click and clack the like button. Click and clack the subscribe button. There's a notification bell. Hit that. It'll let you know we drop new content. Sharing is caring. Let people know we exist, and by all means, comment. I totally look forward to hearing from you. So before we go through the news and notes, a quick look at the scoreboard. Paul George scores 25 points. The Clippers rebound by destroying Phoenix 138-111. Meanwhile, today, Toronto is in town. They're going to be at the Lakers at 7:30. Let's see if the Lakers can build on their winning streak of one. Meanwhile, the Kings are at Tampa Bay at 4 o'clock. The Kings, they need to right the ship. They are on a 5-game losing skid, but we have got to get to the news. There's an absolute ton. The Chargers have begun their search for a new head coach by casting a very wide net. Yes, much like it is written in the New Testament, the Bolts have indeed become fishers of men. How wide is this net? Well, I can list off 6 men and not include Bill Belichick or Jim Harbaugh. This list includes a request to speak with Raiders defensive coordinator Patrick Graham. You heard me. A Raiders assistant is in line for the Chargers gig. The Bolts also want to talk to 49ers defensive coordinator Steve Wilks, Detroit's offensive coordinator Ben Johnson, and defensive coordinator Aaron Glenn. And that's a little awkward. Also included Dallas defensive coordinator Dan Quinn and Baltimore offensive coordinator Todd Ronkin. Just requests all over the NFL. It's going to be the biggest house party ever somewhere in the midst of the Chargers front office. Now, I'll be honest with you. I think we all agree that Brandon Staley was a bit over his head trying to run that team pretty much ever since he got it. But I would submit to you that last season for the Bolts went to hell in a handbasket the moment center Corey Linsley was sidelined with a non-emergent heart issue in week 3. You never saw him again. Because if you've ever watched football, you try to look at things behind the immediate, did they score or not? Did they move the chains or not? Right before the snap, you notice how offensive linemen are always pointing this way, that way, the other. All of that gets communicated from the center. Who blocks who? So your center has to be on his game mentally as well as physically. Linsley was the one calling the blocking schemes for the Chargers. Once Linsley was gone, did you notice that the rest of the Chargers' offensive line basically was like a house of cards? The communication, protecting Justin Herbert, running lanes created for Austin Eckler, poof, all of that gone, all of it. So you can imagine a Chargers rebound centers on the center. Only Linsley told ESPN yesterday there's a 99% chance he's going to retire now. The scribes ran into Linsley. They noticed he dropped a lot of weight. Linsley used to weigh over, I'd say about 300 pounds. He wouldn't say what the diagnosis to his heart was, but doctors told him playing football would likely put him at risk. Hell, weighing 300 pounds alone puts a lot of pressure on the human heart. Linsley said tests in March would determine his final decision. If he retires before March 13th, and the tests will be held in March, there is a kind of sort of silver lining for the Chargers. It would save them almost $9 million in cap space if that happens. And that would be a major help. Because remember, the Chargers are about $35 million over the cap for next year. You don't want to lose Linsley, but if you do and you can kind of get some cap relief, That's not bad. Wide receivers Keenan Allen and Mike Williams expressed hope that they could stay with the Chargers. Allen actually was pretty hardcore in his belief. Quote, "I don't want to go nowhere else," unquote, because he's been with the Chargers for 10 years. Allen said if the Chargers do not bring him back, he would only consider playing for a couple of teams. And if they don't want him, quote, "adios amigos," unquote. Williams and Allen both missed significant time this season due to injury. Williams was out ever since week 3, just like Lindsley. But Williams, instead of having a heart issue, tore the anterior cruciate ligament in a knee. Meanwhile, Austin Eckler said moving on from the Chargers as a free agent is a possibility, unquote. Lots of Chargers news. We talked about him yesterday. We know the Rams are moving on, but honestly, everybody going into last season thought the Chargers were going to be the more stable playoff threat, whereas the Rams would be in chaos. Nice little flippy flip, wouldn't you say? But as for the Rams, the Washington Commanders have requested a chance to interview Rams defensive coordinator Raheem Morris, according to Adam Schefter of ESPN. In addition to serving as a head coach in Tampa Bay and an interim head coach over in Atlanta, Morris cut his teeth coaching for the team back when it was known as the Washington Redskins. Morris has guided LA's defense ever since 2021. And look, I hesitate to talk about race in the sense that I'm by no means an expert, right? You have the Rooney Rule. The Rooney Rule says whenever you have a coaching opening, you should interview a black person to try and see if they have a shot at the job, try and increase minority hiring for management positions. And a lot of people look at the Rooney Rule skeptically. And I get it. I do. But I'm here to tell you, I believe Raheem Morris has a legitimate shot at becoming a head coach again. He's done too much good work ever since he lost the Tampa Bay job, whether it be in LA, whether it be in Atlanta. I think he's a legitimate head coaching candidate. The Rams overall have won 7 of 8 games, and that is a sign of optimism. Absolutely. Because that one loss was in overtime in Baltimore. But here are a couple of signs for pessimism as well. First of all, this is their 3rd week in a row on the road. That is a tall ask. They're not going to play at SoFi Stadium again this year. Let's be real. And by the way, the team faltered, if you remember, halfway through the year. They were on a 3-game losing streak, literally at the midpoint. Their young players needed a break. Well, they're about to play for a 9th consecutive week all over again. Now, I'm not saying that they can't win their wild card game in Detroit. I'm just saying they've been playing high octane now for over 2 months. At some point, that well's going to run a little dry, I would imagine. There was scuttlebutt about foreign soccer teams wanting to pluck MLS Golden Boot winner Denis Bouanga from LAFC. Now, that came literally immediately after the Black and Gold lost MLS Cup over in Columbus. And there really wasn't a lot of reason to put stock into it, because LAFC wasn't going to just get rid of their best player. Come on. Even LAFC general manager John Thorrington said the plan was to, quote, absolutely, unquote, have Bouanga back. The only way Bouanga would go is if he wanted to facilitate such a move. Ruh-roh. Bouanga says he wants to return to Europe. Oops. That's a bad sign. Now look, I don't want to go into panic mode I'm not here trying to freak out LAFC fans or anything like that. Before you read too much into this, take a step back and look at the situation in total. Bouanga was just the 23rd highest paid player in MLS last year. He made $2.5 million. Bouanga wants a new contract, let's be real. And I would argue that's fair because he scored 38 goals in all competitions last year. He wasn't kind of productive. There isn't a team in MLS that wouldn't want that level of production and wouldn't pay top dollar for it, with the possible exception of, I don't know, the Colorado Rapids or something like that. I don't care how much of an LAFC supporter you are, though. If LAFC loses Bouanga, that team has no chance next year. So Thorington is not stupid. He knows this. I think Bouanga would settle for a new contract with LAFC. I bet he would like to go back to Europe. But I think if you had the option of languishing on the bench of a Premier League team and never getting on the pitch, or getting a brand new contract and being beloved in Los Angeles, you know which way you're going to go. That's just a thought. I don't think for a moment LAFC is going to let Denis Bouanga go without a fight. Longtime viewers of this channel know that I'm a former sports writer, former scribe. And I sometimes wonder, what is the point of getting a journalism degree? I look back on my life and I wonder, why did I go to college? Because you read about the Lakers, and every time you read about the Lakers, so much of it is childish gossip. These scribes paid $250,000 in student loans to a college just to learn how to gossip. You and I can gossip for free all the hell we want, right? So in today's dose of Lakers whisper crap, CBSSports.com speculated that LeBron James threw Darvin Ham under the bus by giving a compliment to Clippers coach Tyronn Lue. And I'm telling you, this just gets so tiresome. This ridiculous everyday batch of Laker gossip, which has no basis in reality. I mean, look, after the Lakers beat the Clippers on Sunday, a scribe asked James what he thought of the, quote, James Harden Clippers, to which LeBron replied, quote, "It's the T. Lue Clippers. I know T. Lue very well. It don't take T. Lue very long to make sure bleep get right," unquote. Now, how the hell does that really throw Darvin Ham under the bus? You have to twist it and suggest that Darvin Ham can't work straight stuff out quickly. Tyronn Lue won a ring as a coach, as well as a player. There's nothing, and by the way, they do actually know each other. They are pals. He gave a compliment to a friend. It doesn't mean he gave the middle finger to his new coach. Relax. Not everything has some sort of undertone to it. Sometimes a compliment is a compliment. My wife is one of the prettiest women I've ever seen in my life. She doesn't mind if I say, wow, that chick has nice hair, or whatever. The primary reason, though, that I always bring up rumors is because many of the scribes are idiots. And we know they're idiots. We know this by reading it every day. But one thing I wanted to mention about Laker rumors deserves to be mentioned. Now, you may have your problems with the way Jeannie Buss runs the Lakers, and maybe some of your reasons are valid. But would you at least concede that unlike a lot of people out there, sports, non-sports, male, female, would you at least concede that Jeannie Buss is a woman of her word? Because when her brother ran the team, nobody knew what the hell was going on over with the Lakers. You could take Jeannie Buss at her word when something is going on. So when Jeannie Buss gives Ham her full support, which by the way was reported in The Athletic on Monday, can we at least lay the fire the coach rumors down until the end of the season? Buss sent a lengthy text message to the coach after reports of Ham being on the hot seat for surface last week. Now, how much weight will a lengthy text message from your boss carry with sports writers desperate for clickbait? Of course, absolutely nothing. The sports writers aren't going to pay attention to that. The bloggers aren't going to pay attention to that. They know, after all, they're just a rando in a basement. They know more about running an NBA team than Jeannie Buss, right? After all, they went to junior college. So yeah, expect the Laker rumors to continue. Lakers legend Lamar Odom said one way to fix the team is to run the triangle offense. This is a very bad idea. I like Lamar Odom, but the triangle works best with repetition because the triangle isn't about play calling as much as it is anticipating where your teammates are going to be. Now, some coaches say it takes a year for that to sink in. It takes a year to be able to run the triangle with efficiency. And the Lakers just don't have a lot of years within James. They don't. And by the way, I don't think James wants to run the triangle. Have you ever seen the way James carries the ball up the court? First thing he does, he looks for a mismatch with his teammates, summons that teammate over for a quick pick and roll, and all of a sudden James is one-on-one with a defender who can't guard him. That is literally the Lakers' offense. They don't need the triangle. The Lakers also added guard Skylar Mays on a two-way contract. Let's be real, it's just a G League signing. The funny thing about the Dodgers signing Teoscar Hernandez to a $23.5 million contract is you ask yourself, where the hell does he fit in the lineup? The best case scenario for this all-star is no higher than the 6 hole. Yeah, go through the lineup. Who does Teoscar Hernandez unseat? Mookie Betts at leadoff? Hell no. Then you're looking at Freddie Freeman and Shohei Ohtani? Nope. Are you going to drop Will Smith from the 4 hole? Or Max Muncy, who is guaranteed to give you a minimum of 25 home runs, more likely 30 year in and year out? We've just locked down the first 5 spots in the Dodger lineup. Now you're looking possibly at a place for Hernandez. It's either going to be him, Jason Hayward, James Outman, or Gavin Lux. So that is the impact of signing it. It makes that lineup just that much deeper. It is a wee bit of a demotion for Hernandez. If you recall, if you watch the Seattle Mariners ever play, the dude normally hit in the 4 or 5 hole. But Muncy appears to be absolutely on board with all the moves that LA made in the offseason. Muncy said the clubhouse has typically been solid, but the ones that are coming in, quote, aren't focused on trying to get their numbers. We've had some guys that kind of cared about themselves a little bit, and they've been shipped out. I think that's just the cool thing about it, unquote. It is best to be cautious when it comes to the foreign soccer press. We always say that on this channel. So take what I'm about to tell you with a pound of salt. The Galaxy are allegedly in a battle for another winger to bring over, Facundo Pellistri, who is a 22-year-old Uruguayan currently with Manchester United. There are multiple reasons to be skeptical of this report. A Dutch team is also said to be interested in Pellistri. So that could signal a bidding war, and MLS clubs do not often win bidding wars. But there is another reason that I bring up this particular story, if you're a Galaxy supporter, as I am. We mentioned yesterday how multiple reports have Gabriel Peck coming to LA from a Brazilian team. Peck is another winger, just like Pellistri would be. I would argue that if you're wondering what the Galaxy are doing, I believe that Galaxy general manager Will Kuntz, who used to work for LAFC, is structuring the roster like LAFC did in its inaugural season. Look back to LAFC's inaugural year in 2018. Who stood out? Wingers. Carlos Vela on one side, Diego Rossi on the other, both young wingers. And before, this is a change for the Galaxy because the Galaxy used to invest heavily in a center striker. That's not the case in this offseason. USC will keep its top offensive lineman, Jonah Monheim, according to 24/7 Sports. He served as a team captain last year. Now, obviously, anything resembling continuity on the offensive line would be a plus for USC as they move to the Big Ten Conference. They have lost at least 2 starters, technically 3 if you counted Michael Tarkin. But Tarkin lost his starting gig about halfway through the year before he entered the transfer portal. Monheim has played both tackle positions. He'll probably play right tackle next year because if you saw the Holiday Bowl, freshman Elijah Page was surprisingly effective at left tackle. Pro Football Focus claims Monheim did not allow a sack in 570 pass plays for the Trojans. Within minutes of the final whistle, by the way, of the college football title game last night, ESPN released a way too early top 25. Neither UCLA or USC was on the list. Speaking of UCLA, Former four-star recruit, wide receiver Jerry McClure has decided to transfer to San Diego State. McClure played in only 2 games as a freshman before redshirting. He's from Chula Vista and indicates that he might have gotten a little homesick. An Angel City FC midfielder, Lily Nabel, will stay with the club thanks to a contract extension. She's not exactly a needle mover. She's only played in 21 matches since she originally was drafted by the team. But you let me know what you think in the comments thread. Does Raheem Morris stand a legit chance of becoming the Washington head coach? Does Denis Bouanga stay at LAFC? And oh, by the way, what the hell are the Chargers going to do? If you enjoy the content, don't forget to subscribe to Faithful Angelenos. We're talking LA sports every single day here. Thank you for watching. I'm James. We'll be back tomorrow. Faithful Angelenos is a Kian Corte El Queso production. Take care.